Well, been sitting here kind of quietly the last couple of minutes, getting set up and stuff, and I just finished listening to the 19-minute track Isaac Hayes version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix, because I've been reading about Injury Reserve a bit, about this album a bit, about Grogs, about, all that. Just trying to get myself into the right place. I'd listened to the Glenn Campbell version, which is like 2.5 minutes. I put on the Isaac Hayes version. And the Isaac Hayes version is incredible. I was getting a little bored in the beginning because it's just kind of like a little drawn out, right? He's telling the story a little, and I think just taking the concept of the song and expanding on it. But I'm glad he did that because it did make it richer. It made the whole song portion that he gets to finally a lot more powerful. And I don't know much about this. Well, okay, what do I know about this album? There's this thing about how Groggs wanted them to focus on that idea. I don't. Maybe it was specific to Isaac Hayes, the track, his version. And I've been listening to Injury Reserve the last 2 or 3 weeks. So those of you who are hoping for reactions of the other albums, I'm sorry. I am sorry, but I listened to the other 4 already. I've listened to them multiple times. Live from the Dentist's Office, Floss, Drive It Like It's Stolen, and Self-Titled. I haven't sat down with them like I do like this. I've been listening to them in the car. I've been listening to them at home. I'm going to save my opinions on those albums and songs that I've loved for additional thoughts on Wednesday. I don't want to bog down this too much. And I already lost my train of thought. I guess really what I was trying to say is I enjoy Injury Reserve. I like the sound that they have. I've gotten comfortable with them. And knowing where this all goes, Groggs dying June of 2020. I forget. Like basically this album came out a year later almost, right? After his death. And I remember reading something about how he was telling the other guys, or there was this idea of sticking to By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Isaac Hayes thing. And he said, just make some weird shit. Make some weird shit. And I read something about Richie with the T and how he's doing some of the lyrics in a room by himself in the dark. That's interesting. Oh, now I remember why I was referencing the other albums. Groggs has got some tracks, man, where he's talking about alcohol. He's talking about some of these struggles that he's dealing with. And I've looked online, and every article I find talks about how they announced his death. No cause of death was given. And I don't know why he died. I don't know what the cause of death was. And the only reason why I mention that, not necessarily because I need to pick at it, but when I think about the track and Isaac Hayes' version, and he's telling the story about how he left this woman and he left her again and again and again, and he just kept coming back. He just kept coming back. He couldn't leave her. And on the 8th time, he leaves her, and he's, then it turned into the song. And by the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be doing this. And by the time I get to Albuquerque, she'll be doing that. And I wonder if Groggs was so connected to that song because of his own struggle with alcohol, if that's what he felt, if that was his relationship with alcohol. And I was thinking about that, and it put me in a dark spot, which is proper, I think. I think this is the right space to be in going into this album. I'm very excited to listen to it now, like more than ever. People have been talking about this ever since the channel got rolling. And what they've described when talking about this album, it has made me very interested in it, which is why, I listened to all this stuff on the side on my own so I could finally get here, because I've been wanting to listen to this for a while. And hearing the Isaac Hayes song and understanding him and understanding how he died well before this album was released, very interesting place, like mentally right now. Like I'm kind of like right on the emotional edge, which I think is good. That's gonna make for an interesting reaction too. We'll see where it all goes. It might get a little messy up in here, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm all right with that. I should have got myself a cup of water so I could, when my throat gets tight. I guess let's roll into it. I wish it was dark outside. I do these during the day when my family's gone, because Obviously, that makes the most sense, but that's okay. You know, even with the lights on, too, it kind of ruins the whole aesthetic for that. But whatever. So here we go. Dropping into By the Time I Get to Phoenix by Injury Reserve. First track is called Outside. I'm in an interesting spot mentally. I'm familiar with their sound. I've heard the 4 albums prior to this. I think there's even some stuff before that, too, that I have not heard, but whatever. Let's drop in. Track 1's called Outside, produced by Injury Reserve. Let's give it a go.
I've been talking to him kindly. Walk with it, yeah. It's me. Talk to him. Walk with it, yeah. Look like these niggas back. Oh, yeah. Let's cut all that bullshit. What's the elephant in the room? Let's talk to him. Come on, let's talk to him, don't hide him. Yeah. But I walking in circles. You thought it was gonna be a walk in the park with a probably. But now you walk in the park. But I would've, with all that shoulda, coulda, woulda, I'm in your neck of the woods with the dogs ready to bark on them. Tryna big dog me. You can't little bro me. Cause they pass about to start stalking on Raleigh. Tiptoe, about to stalk on Raleigh. Get to talking to him Raleigh.
Tripping. I did read that. I think it was a Wikipedia entry. There's not a lot of like choruses, not a lot of hooks. It's like just a lot of this. And I'm fine with that, but it makes it challenging for pausing, you know. So there you go. This opening portion really stuck with me immediately. I make my presence felt. An OG once told me tie a rope around his neck because you got to give people enough room to hang themselves. And let's keep going here. This is gonna be a challenge because my brain is just like really wanting to pounce, and I have to hold stuff back. I've always enjoyed the phrase, you know, let somebody hang themselves, and it is an active thing where you see someone making a mistake, and you know maybe the situation is you've tried to help them, they won't listen, maybe you don't like them, you know, whatever the reason, right? And you just go, okay, fine, go ahead. Make your own mistake, and then you'll come face to face with the consequences of it. The reason why, well, no, I don't want to say reason. I'm piling my own shit in if I say that. So we're gonna not say that. Because for wealth, you're gonna lose your health. Smack! I got the 40 on my belt. That line, because for wealth, you're gonna lose your health. And I really wonder what that is. You know, specifically putting that in there, given Grog's alcohol, the struggles that he sings about throughout the different songs on different albums. I've been talking to him kindly. Walk with it. I've been talking to him kindly. I came in a little too sharp. You ain't like it when I come in all wily. Let me tell you something. I've been talking to him kindly because they want to toot each other's horns, pat each other's backs for anything in common, even slightly. You want to meet in the middle? You want to sit across me? So you just talk to him. What's the elephant in the room? Come on, walk circles. Elephant in the room. Yeah, okay. Let's keep rolling. Oh, no, I want to click on this. You're trying to big dom me like I'm 34 miles from Raleigh, which is North Carolina. Online hate by outright saying his location real life. Let's keep rolling. I'm trying to jump in too early. I'm trying to read into this too early. Let's get through this outro.
As we roll through this valley of death. Listen, please, listen. Don't want to have too many conversations. There's just some things that ain't right. We gotta be honest with ourselves. Gotta know, I know. And if you don't, then there's something wrong up here. We cannot end this with an agree to disagree. There is no happy medium. That is nothing. That is nothing.
So here's my thought process. You kind of got this echoing voice in the background. I can't quite make out what he's saying. I don't know if it's supposed to be an echo of the spoken verse here, if it's supposed to be like some sort of reflection, maybe the other half of a conversation. You got a lot of noise, and everything feels unsettled. And he's got these lines in here. We got to be honest with ourselves. If you don't know, then there's something wrong in your noggin. We can't end this with an agree to disagree. And so what is he really getting at? I mean, the topic specifically, we don't know. But the idea is when there is something that is, we'll just say objectively wrong. But two people, two parties, two groups, if they can't necessarily agree on how to handle it or whatever, and so they come to a compromise that essentially does not solve the problem, that is nothing. That is nothing. And that's the last two lines. That is nothing. There is no happy medium. There's no agree to disagree. If there's a problem and you can't recognize it, then there's something wrong with you. And this is a tricky thing because so often we're told and we even will encourage the idea of working with each other and sorting things out and in relationships and all this other stuff. And that's a good thing, generally speaking. But like everything in life, there's no absolutes. Sometimes, no, you can't work this out. No, we cannot find a middle ground here. We have to solve this problem by making it go away, which means whatever. And sometimes the problem is other people don't want to make it go away. And there is, of course, the rub. Got skeletons in my closet. I got skeletons. You've got skeletons. Let's be honest. Not going to bounce around shit. Let's put everything on the table. You want to have a two-way conversation. Let's put everything on the table. And just honesty. And I was thinking about this, reading how he did a lot of these lyrics in a dark room by himself. And I'm very curious of what he's thinking about while he's saying these things. Let's keep going. There's still about 2 minutes of music left, so I'm really curious to see how this track finishes up. It feels like we're going somewhere. Interesting. I'm gonna back it up just a tiny bit. I don't know if these tracks transition. I'll leave about 10 seconds at the end outside. So the first thing that comes to mind, I don't know, I have no idea if this is intentional, accurate, whatever, but you finally get into a beat, and the beat's starting to build and it's starting to develop. And I mentioned how it feels like we're going somewhere. It felt like something like the start of a journey, the start of traveling somewhere, the start of something, and the beat's really starting to develop, and then you start getting a little bit of that, like synth or keyboard in there, and then it derails. And I think about that concept of, okay, we're going, and it falls apart, applied to something like a conversation between two people who can't find a happy medium, who can't find a middle ground. Interesting. This is going to be fun. Fun in a artistic experience, a fun in a living an album. I hope the next 10 tracks are just fucking mind blowers, man. I'm also trying to keep in mind the concept, the context of the track by the time I get to Phoenix and everything that Isaac Hayes did in his version that Groggs was so into. Okay, let's play this out. Actually, I'm going to back this up more than 10 seconds. I'm going to back this up like 20, 30 seconds. And we'll roll into track 2, which is called Superman That. I think it's produced by Andrew Reserve. Yeah, okay. Let's roll this out and let's listen to this beat fall apart. And keep the idea of there's something wrong. We got to be honest with ourselves. We put it all on the table. And if you don't agree with that, there's something wrong with your brain. There's something wrong with you, you know? And so there's two parties that can't find a common ground, or the common ground being here and one person not being able to reach that common ground. And then it's like this desolate sound. All right, track 2 is called Superman That. Trippy. Wow.
I can feel it in my bones, and it's real down. Ain't shown that you grown, ain't blood that you shown. You can keep what you said, you tell you read, now you read what you sow. You can tweet your arms, you holler, but that's just how that shit go. I can feel it in my bones, and it's true what they own. Ain't shown that you grown, every blood that you shown. You can hear what you said, you tell you read, now you read what you sow. You can tweet your arms, you holler, but that's how that shit go.
This is a wild beat. Huh. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is they have that other track, S on the Chest. I forget what album it's on. One reason I didn't mention the tracks and the albums is because, you know, I have been listening to them, but I've been listening to a lot of new music lately, and it's been hard to keep track. I'm actually going to back off a little bit on what I've been doing just because I've been listening to too much new stuff to the extent that I don't really get to enjoy it. And so I need to back off and just enjoy what I am listening to by giving it the proper amount of time. I can feel myself trying to put stuff into this track, trying to insert meaning, and I don't want to do that. I want to let it come to me, because artistic expression is very challenging in that sometimes they're straightforward, sometimes it's not, sometimes there's hidden messages, sometimes it's very open, sometimes it's left for interpretation on purpose. And the reason why I say all that is because I want to approach this with as much respect as possible, as much respect as I can give it, knowing, you know, what little limited context that I have. And so I don't want to insert a bunch of bullshit that is not applicable. But here's the verse. I can feel it in my bones. They stripped what they own. Every stone that you've thrown, every blow that you've shown, you can keep what you stitch until they peep now, you reap what you sow. You can toot your horns, hoot and holler, but that's just how that shit goes. I can feel it in my bones. They stripped what they own. That line, they stripped what they own. They stole something back from him. I guess. Maybe. Every stone that you've thrown, every blow that you've shown, you can keep what you stitch. Interesting that they use the word stitch. And there's no annotations to click on here. And that's okay. Ain't no saving me. Ain't no saving me or you. The only thing that's annotated is you. It's almost certain that the title Superman That is a reference to the infamous Soulja Boy track Crank That, where the word you is also repeated throughout. Okay, I don't know that track. Out of all the songs on By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Superman That may perhaps be the most personal and unnervingly ghost-like. Groggs, in one of his final performances, describes a transcendental, I can never pronounce that word, state in which he has been stripped what they own, and every action of his having been taken away. This theme of dissociation is further explored in the music video, which Richie with the T is depicted inside a spherical orb interspersed with the imagery of sports and an eye. It is also referenced in the original sample taken from Black Country New Roads, Athens, France. Deals with unresolved psychological issues affecting the ability of a narrator to maintain a healthy relationship. The belief is unable to be saved is likely the result of detachment from oneself. Jesus, this is a long ass annotation for one word. Let's read it. Okay. Let's finish it up and I'll whatever. How does this relate to Soulja Boy besides the single word you? While it may just be a joke that Groggs had working on this song that the Dio stuck with, the depersonalization described may have perhaps been equivalent to seeing oneself as hyper-commercialized as Soulja Boy, or the complex emotions conveyed being reduced to a song notable for its dance craze and its overall trashiness. In other words, the title Superman That is a reference to the deathly fear of being rendered to nothing more than a dance craze or a one-dimensional fad, to be rendered unsavable through your identity being surrendered and sold. The repetition of ain't no saving me or you can also be interpreted as a reference to how Superman is said to always save the day. Even Superman couldn't save the people in this situation, which is even more bittersweet considering Groggs' plight and all of the tragedy leading up to this record. Perhaps it is both ironically humorous and metaphorical that something as intense as emotional as losing yourself is encapsulated behind a reference to Soulja Boy. The contradiction of this only makes the song more powerful and resonant as something that is truly one of a kind that could never be made by anyone else. Okay. I don't know the track. I wish I did. I won't comment on that annotation because I don't know the track. I'm just going to assume that the annotation and that connection to the other song is valid. I really hope it is because that's a lot. I just got done saying a couple minutes ago how I don't want to put something into it that isn't correct. I'm just going to assume it's accurate, especially with this chorus, ain't no saving me, ain't no saving you. Especially if you sell out or you feel that you have sold out and then the person you sell out to, they come back and strip out what they own. Ain't no saving me, ain't no saving you. Okay. We're going to move on to track 3. I'm letting all of this try and soak in as well as possible. Track 3 is called SS San Francisco, which, okay, maybe that's a ship title. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know. Featuring Zeolooper Z. I don't know who that is. Produced by Injury Reserve. All right, track 3. SS San Francisco. Cool fucking sound already. Here.
What if I don't wanna stay in here? If I don't wanna pray in here, what if I ain't doing it? We ain't supposed to be there. We ain't supposed to live in it. It ain't supposed to live in it.
cool song.
Stone hard to move 'em, wrong hard to prove 'em. On the crater, on the moon, watching home movies. Where they change the time up, where they 440 to it. I can't eat no brown stuff, I like the toaster strudel.
I ain't going through that. You can't just force me through it, shit. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Got Ken buried in the dirt. And we just gonna uproot and do this. They say it coming off shape and sizes. They can make it just for you, kid. They try to show me the floor plan, say it matter how big your bed is. Say you choose a 20, you can put a little studio where that shit is. There ain't no difference. You just working for this. Plus you gon' get vetted and probably take your credit. So probably just forget it. But
Ha. Wow, man. What? Huh. Huh. This is going to be very challenging. What if I don't want to stay in here? I don't want to pray in here. What if I ain't doing it? But what if, though? I ain't really fit like that. I won't wear some shit like that. No, no, no. But what I know, we ain't supposed to be there. We ain't supposed to live in it. I can't take it anymore. It ain't supposed to be this way. It ain't supposed to be this. Not anymore. We won't last. Don't be sad. Don't be mad. You made the bed for yourself. So sad. Can't protect yourself. Don't be mad. You'll go mad. You'll go mad. Don't be mad. The first thing I pull from that is kind of a sense of trying to let go, but the inability to. This is definitely, well, I shouldn't say definitely, but I get a very strong impression of kind of going crazy and trying to not go crazy by just letting, it's okay, let it go. You know, don't get hung up on whatever it is that you're hung up on, but not being able to let it go and so going crazy. This big portion here, the first half of the verse is annotated. Let's check this out. Richie opens the track, refusing to do something. He says it in such a pleading manner, like refers to here the reality that he faces. He's dived deeper. Yeah, okay. Okay. Sure. We ain't supposed to be there. We ain't supposed to live in it. We won't last. And then you got the Zaluper Z's stone, hard to move 'em, wrong, hard to prove 'em. And I think that's drawing a parallel between people who are stubborn in what they believe and, you know, no, closed-minded. You know, it's just like it's hard to move a stone. It's hard to prove people wrong when they refuse to see what they have wrong. On the crater on the moon, watching home movies. The first thing I think of there, none of this is annotated right here, but on the crater on the moon, watching home movies, I picture a guy laying down in a crater on the moon, looking back at the earth, just watching it. And I like that idea in conjunction with this idea of letting go, trying to let go. You know, I'm going crazy. And so, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to zoom way out and watch. Something I struggle with sometimes. It's easy to get caught up in everything that's happening. There's so much that's happening. And I think to myself, and I go, you know what? Like, it is important and it does matter and it does affect me and us and so many people and so on, but we're also just this little speck out in the middle of nowhere and it's all irrelevant in a sense, you know? But then that, if you focus on that too much, then you get spiraled off into this other, you know, mind trip. Will they change the time up? Will they 442 it? I don't know what 442 is. It's annotated, possibly a reference to the Bible verse, John 4:42. They said to the woman, "We no longer believe just because of what you said. Now we have heard for ourselves, and we know that this man really is the Savior of the world." This verse occurs after a woman tells people about how Jesus is their Savior, but they feel they need to verify this claim by meeting Jesus. They meet with them through their first-hand experience. Okay. I can't eat no ground stuff. I like to toaster strudel it. Okay. No gravity. I'm floating in some Gucci. Reason for insanity. I ain't got one to use it. Know my body mad at me because I'm going through it. Scared to have some kids because the world be going through it. Huh. So this just feels like, I guess you want to call it existential crisis, you know, whatever you want to call it. But just trying to let go. Trying to not get so hung up on everything that's happening. I ain't going through that. This is the third verse with Richie with a T. I ain't going through that. You can't just force me through it. I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do it. I got kin buried in the dirt, and we're just going to uproot and deuces. So he's talking about moving, right? And he's not going to go through with it. I'm not going to leave. And I think this is an important idea because there is a sense of roots. Like when you go somewhere where your ancestry comes from, that you can feel that, especially if you take the time to learn your own family history and all the stuff people went through. There's some connection there. I'll share. I had an emotional experience a couple of weeks ago because my dad recently retired. Grandfather, dad, uncle, farmers. And I hated farming, which is why I joined the military. I just couldn't handle it. And they never really had that much money anyway, so there wasn't a whole lot of incentive there. But grandparents have passed. You know, dad and uncle take over the farm, and you know it's hot in California in the summer and stuff, and they're getting older, so they finally sold off the land. And my dad retired, and he's in Utah. My uncle's up in Idaho. And when I found out that they sold the last plot of land, I fucking cried, man. I cried because it was just this huge rush of memory of the house that I was in as a kid. And then my grandparents lived there, and I remember being there when I was a teenager and seeing them, and it was like my grandparents' house. And then my dad and stepmom lived there, and there I have so many memories associated with that piece of ground. So that was just, it was a surprise because I knew it was happening. It's not like I was unaware that they were selling the land and all this other stuff, but when it clicked, when it finally sunk in, holy shit. Anyway. They say it come in all shape and sizes. You can make it just for you, kid. They try to show me the floor plan, say it matter. Oh, man. So they're trying to sell them on this idea of moving. Here's your new place, and you can do stuff with it, right? 20 bands and incentives. I wonder if this is the studio or the record company trying to get them to move, like out to LA or some bullshit. Oh, so the annotation is saying, despite the racism Richie acknowledges in the previous lyrics, America still claims to be built for him. In these lines, Richie sarcastically makes urgently accommodating lyrics to get the message across. That's an unreviewed annotation. I don't agree with that. I feel like this is somebody trying to tell him, you got to move from where you are over to California or wherever so you can be closer to the industry and do all this other shit. But then you get into this portion with his aunt. Auntie says she can go for 4 years and come back just breaded. Said they're paying folks to keep it clean and everyone fed and shit. What is that about? Oh, Bruce Wayne. So, the Batman. There ain't no difference except you just working for people. Plus, you're going to get vetted and probably check your credit. So probably just forget it. Plus, your ass is tripping. Trippy song. Let's keep going. I'm all spun around right now. Let's keep going. Track 4 is called Footwork in a Forest Fire, which is a hell of a title. We're 40 minutes in after 3 songs. Perfect.
If you don't go breathe the air, you might stay alive. We might stay alive. Are you down to ride? Yeah, we down to ride. I said we down to ride. Sorry, I'm not trying to rest no longer. People lie. They try to take my lives, and they take my rights. Yeah, it's a sign of the times. How hard the stones keep chin high. Here go me while I'm by your nose.
What?
Anybody's foes.
Let's see your footwork. Let's see how your feet work. Let's see how you roll with this that glow work. Let's see how you go work. We can jump down slow. Let's see that knee jerk. Let's see how your team work. You should without toes. Tell you how I roll. I say like everything must go. When I grab your kid in your fold. When I grab your fist in the fistball. When I grab your first thing that you heard. What's it worth and how would you know? All the glitter ain't goes on how it make you feel in your bones.
Wow. I've never heard anything like this. Ever. Ever. This is fucking wild. I was going to apologize for not saying much, but I'm just soaking in it. That's all I'm doing. I don't think I've paused in the middle of the last couple tracks, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm just soaking in this. It feels like emotional panic, crisis. It's so much so like, I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. And just so far beyond that edge of just fuck it. It doesn't matter. I'm just disintegrating now and it doesn't even matter. Everything's falling apart and it doesn't matter. Footwork in a forest fire. It feels like that. It feels like somebody trying to dance faster and faster and faster while everything around them burns. Everything. This is fucking wild. Let's take a peek at some of these lyrics here. At first I thought there's all these vocals way off in the background and I could barely hear it, and I thought that maybe this was the lines, and maybe it is, I just couldn't tell. Manic in the sky, there's panic in the sky. Even when it's down below, there's nowhere to go. You better run and hide, take your ass inside. There's nowhere to go. And I mean, I don't know if they're talking about just, potential climate crisis and stuff like that, but I think more so, I think it's just this general sense of, fuck, you can't escape this. We can't get off this planet. And so in a way, our home becomes our prison. And if things get too unhinged, you can't escape it. Can't escape it. If you don't go breathe the air, you might just stay alive. We might just stay alive. Are you down to riot? Yeah, we're down to riot. I said we're down to riot. Sorry, Mama, I try my best to no longer be polite. They try to take my life. They try to take my rights. This is a sign of the times. Time of the sign. Look in the sky. Footwork in a forest fire. I wonder if he's talking about riots and fires. I mean, he's talking about, where it said we're down to riot. I try my best. I'm no longer polite. They're trying to take my life. They're trying to take my rights. But when this came out in 21, not barely a year ago, a lot of riots, a lot of cities burning, a lot of fire in the sky. Stop, drop, and roll, which is, of course, what you do when you're on fire. That's what you're supposed to do. Stop, drop, and roll. Ask Pops how they'd roll. There's so much right there to unpack. I'm on fire. I'm burning alive. I'm supposed to stop, drop, and roll. My dad, asked my pops how they'd roll. It's like him asking his own father, how did you deal with this? Because the same shit's been going on. Like, keeping in mind of, like, we'll say civil rights movements and the riots recently, right? It's still happening. Cops are still killing people. It's still happening. It hasn't changed. And then the idea of taking to the streets and rioting and asking his own father, how'd you do it? How did you riot when you used to riot? What did you do? Those two lines, it's fucking like 8 words. There's a shit ton to unpack right there. I mean, it's almost American history in a nutshell. And then you get this next portion, and maybe this is the answer to the question. Yeah, they say they 10 toes, but you just wilding with your toes out. We say you barefoot expose. how hot them stones. So let's read this annotation. Richie refers to an act known as fire walking, where people walk on extremely hot coals while being barefoot. In some cultures around the world, fire walking is seen as a test of physical strength and spiritual initiation or loyalty. In this case, the rapper uses the image as a metaphor as he wonders how far people would go for the sake of popularity and general loyalty in such an individualistic society. This is also one of the more clear-cut references to the title of the song itself, with firewalking being a synonym. Yeah, that's a... Okay. I don't agree with that. I think the idea of walking on fire and putting yourself through that experience is a metaphor for fucking burning the city down because of outrage over cops continuing to kill people. It's gonna be wilding by your nose. Fee fi fo, they say that anybody's foes. Let's see your footwork. Let's see how your feet work. Let's see how you roll. That good work. Let's see how you would work. We're gonna chop them down slowly. Let's see how that knee jerk. Let's see how your teamwork. I feel like this is about rioting. And maybe, I don't know, I guess I should clarify. You know, some people get upset about the term rioting. To me, there's a very clear line between protesting and rioting. When you're burning shit down and smashing windows and destroying vehicles, that's rioting. Protesting is non-destructive, peaceful, and it pisses me off how fucking basically every media outlet in the country tries to skew each activity to their own advantage, to their own talking point. Pisses me off when, you know, left-leaning networks will not call riots a riot and right-leaning networks will call protesting riots to try and make it sound bad. And it fucking pisses me off, man. All of it pisses me off. Let's see how that knee jerk. Let's see how your teamwork, or you're just worried about yours. I'll tell you how I roll. I say, like everything must bow. Better grab your kin and your folk. Better grab your fish in the fishbowl. Better grab the first thing that you earned. What's it worth and how you know? All that glitter ain't gold. So how it make you feel in your bones? That line stood out to me. How it make you feel in your bones? Because was it outside? We were talking about they stripped out everything. They stripped away all this stuff. And there's a line in there about something stripped it from the bones, or you feel it in your bones. Maybe not. I forget already. Everything that you grow, everything that brings heart to your home. This temple ain't so holy. This temperature is so showing. Grab everything that you own, but not everything that you owe. You got 2 arms you can hold. 2 arms that you can hold, but 2 arms and no more. They're going to bear arms and you know it. They're going to bear arms and you know it. Who's that? The cops, right? So I feel like this is a looting portion of the rioting. Better grab the first thing that you earned. What's it worth and how you know? They got bear masks and bows. Size of bear arms and boulders. Everything you don't. They've been plotting on this moment. We laughed at them and joked. There's one thing that I know is that we're in this thing alone. As in, no one's going to help them. Fucking media's not going to help them. Politicians aren't going to help them. The police aren't going to help them. No one's going to help them. You got to fight for it on your own. Nobody knows how it's going to go. Maybe I'm way off base on this, but that's what I get from this track. Footwork in a forest fire. Fucking incredible. This is the wildest thing I've ever been through so far. Moving on to track 5, which is called Ground Zero. Let's check it out. Track 5, Ground Zero.
Yeah.
We at Ground Zero with it. Gotta stiff arm a few niggas. Yeah. Zero where they did. We just touched down. Yeah. We just touched down. Touchdown, we in Ground Zero with it. Now, y'all, these weirdos finished. It's a touchdown.
Just the trippiest music.
A few niggas, go ahead. We ain't near these things. Mask on, nigga, fucking mask on. We superhero with it. We got the mask bust down, nigga. Fucking nigga, mask on. Mask off, we don't care if you sleep like CeeLo, nigga, Black Star, Black. Ground Zero with it. Nigga, I got the mask bust down, got the gloves, I got everything. We in here. Yeah. See a few niggas with goggles on. I might cop those too. We at ground zero, we gotta look fly. I got my shoulders out, elbows poked up to hold it down. Older now, got the sanitize, hold it down. Sanitize a few bits, I'm stroking down.
This is wild, man. This is fucking wild. It's just pure anxiety almost. Man, nah, not anxiety. It's worse than that. It's like insane sanity. It's madness. In Ground Zero, they're talking about masks, they're talking about sanitizer, they're talking about stiff arming people, they're talking about getting away, they're wearing gloves, arms reach, no one to trust now. What's this reference here? We don't care if you sleep like CeeLo. What's this about? This is a reference to the rape allegations against CeeLo that he defended by making some questionable tweets. If someone is passed out, they're not even with you consciously, so with implies consent. What? People who have really been raped remember. What? Oh my fucking God. Wow. Wow. I was not ready for that at all. Wow. Wow. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. Okay, let's try and let's move on past that. Holy fuck, that was unbelievable. Ground Zero with it. We just touched down. Touchdown. We're at Ground Zero with it. So this is all annotated, but I'm not going to click on it. There seems to be a lot of play on words here. You just touched down, right? When you do that, you just touched down. You're landing on a plane. Ground Zero, 9/11, World Trade Center, planes colliding. So there's a lot of entanglement there with some of these concepts. About to stiff arm a few people, masks on, masks off. We're superhero with it. So like if you're not wearing a mask, you think you're a god, I guess. Well, not necessarily a god, but you've got some sort of superhuman strength. Ground Zero with it. They don't care if you're sleeping. CeeLo with it. Get a preload with it. Sign a prenup. You don't need them. It'll preload. Wipe the nose. We don't need them. We're at Ground Zero. Fuck it. Mask on, mask off. Ground Zero. 99 yards is a touchdown. Arms reach. No one to trust now. It's fucking madness. It's pure madness. Oh shit. I got my shit bust down. Won't dance. Bust down. I don't know what this bust down means. I don't really know. But that's a must now. Hands to hands. Can't trust now. We're at Ground Zero. Got the mask bust down. Fuck it. I seen a few people with goggles on. I might cop those too. I gotta look fine. You feel me? I got my shoulders out, elbows poked out. So the elbows out, shoulders out. I don't know about other sports, but with like motocross, when you ride, you put your elbows out when you're racing because it helps you put space around yourself so people can't come in too close. And you do that in a crowd. So if you stick your arms out a little bit, you're gonna push people away. So what the fuck is going on here? I mean, there's obviously a mix in with, COVID, staying away from people, sanitizing, like being paranoid. I don't want to say paranoid. I should say paranoid. But there's this feeling of fucking paranoia. Got to get my mask. Got to get my gloves. Got to get my sanitizer. Got to get goggles. Got to stay away from people. Got to stiff arm them. Can't trust anyone. That's going on. I feel like Anquan Bold in the way I'm running routes. But then there's this Ground Zero with it. And how does that tie in? Ground Zero, I feel like it's just total collapse, maybe. Maybe they're talking about a reference between collapsing buildings and collapsing society because you can't trust anybody. I remember that feeling early in the pandemic, going to the store and like I had to sneeze or I had to cough, just once. And it's like, don't fucking do it. Don't do it. Everyone's going to look at you. You almost feel like, you caught the zombie virus and now you're one of the zombies and they got to run from you or some shit. Crazy fucking song. This is wild. I mean, I expected a dark experience, and this is dark, but it's totally different from what I thought was going to happen. And people had said all the music, the sound, everything about this album is completely different from everything they've done. And yep, that is very accurate. Very accurate. Jesus. All right, let's move into track 6, which is called Smoke Don't Clear. So, another thing I want to say about Ground Zero, you got the previous track, Footwork in the Forest Fire, dancing while everything's burning down, and kind of a parallel with riots. Then you got this fucking parallel with Ground Zero and just the total destruction and, COVID and paranoia of people. Now you're going to a track that's titled Smoke Don't Clear. Fuck, man. Produced by Body Meat and Injury Reserve. I've never heard Body Meat before. All right, let's check out track 6, Smoke Don't Clear. Fucking wild, man.
Oh, man. Which one of you niggas left the door open? You gon' like that shit? Oh, yeah. Stop. Smoke don't clear.
Wow.
Smoke don't clear.
What the fuck, man?
Smoke don't clear. Smoke don't clear.
I got my hands tied with plenty more ahead. What was your pants tied? We got some shit right here. Strap up your own boots, all up here from there. Do what you want, put some pepper in your step. I tried to move a mountain with just many men. I tried to move a mountain, that ain't really it. Do what you want, do the smoke never clear. Strap up your own boots, all up here from there. Do
So there's this line in here. Oh God, this is fucking intense. This shit, man. Do what you want. The smoke never clears. Strap up your own boots. It's all uphill from here. And you got from Footwork in a Forest Fire. We're in this thing together. No one's gonna come help us. And then Ground Zero. The paranoia, and now you've almost got this this idea of pushing through the madness, like the fear, the chaos, and then the panic and the fear and the anxiety, all the madness, right? And now it's almost like they've settled into the madness. The smoke doesn't clear. This is how it is. This is how it is. The smoke doesn't clear. And, this is something I went through a little bit in the sense of I learned a lot about this country and its history during the pandemic, just being at home for a while, watching a lot of shit and reading a lot of shit. And you start to realize this is how it's always been. These terrible things that happen in the country, they've been happening for a very, very long time. And it's just kind of, quietly swept under the rug or quietly not discussed. And it sits with you a bit. Fuck. It's always been like this. It's always been like this. How do I not notice it before? And then you got this idea, strap up your own boots. It's all uphill from here. Do what you want to. The smoke never clear. It does create this idea of it doesn't matter, right? What's it matter? Fuck it. That's what this song feels like. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Do what you want to. The smoke never clears. Nothing's going to change. Strap up your own boots. And that's a great play on the phrase, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. That's something that gets tossed around a lot. It's all uphill from here. So you just got to get your own. Do what you want. Get your own. It's all uphill. You got to fight for it. I tried to move a mountain with just many men. I tried to move them out, but that ain't really it. Let's go through these lyrics. This is a fucking wild song. Which one of you people left the door open? You're going to let all that shit in? Stop playing with these people. The smoke don't clear. The smoke don't clear. Think I'm playing, but they don't know. They got to plan shit, but I don't know. Stop playing with them. Smoke don't clear. Stop playing with smoke don't clear. It doesn't change. I feel like the smoke don't clear is it doesn't change. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Nothing changes. It doesn't change. I got my hands tied with plenty more ahead. What's your pants size? We got some shit right here. Strap up your own boots. It's all uphill from here. Put some pep in your step. I tried to move a mountain with just many men. I don't know. I got my whole crew. We've been through shit right here. Strap up your own boots. Got my own moves. It's all up in the fear. Do what you want. The smoke never clears. This is just fucking wild, man. Huh. This feels like just total descent into madness. But here's an interesting like floor where Ground Zero felt like madness. This feels like kind of getting used to the madness and becoming the madness. Let's keep moving here. Track 7 is called Top Picks for You. Which, after this 3-track run, is fucking wild, right? Because the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, here's what you like. Here's more of what you like. You know, and think of like an algorithm feed from YouTube or Twitter or wherever, right? Where they track what you do and they try and give you more of what you do. Top picks for you. And we've just come out of fucking Forest Fire and Ground Zero and Smoke Don't Clear. Now here's top picks for you. Oh, Jesus. Produced by Injury Reserve, Jam City, and Sad Pony. Track 7, top picks for you. Totally different sound.
Train is still on schedule.
As the dust settles, shake it off of me. Shake it off of me. Yeah. Your pattern's still in place. Algorithm still in action. Just work as you can just jump right back. Jump right back. Seen that shit working like nothing ever happened. I go to power on, I see your shit still happening. Yeah. I felt lost, but a hole like this I never could imagine. Your pattern's still in place, algorithm still in action.
I want to pause right here just to remind everyone that I don't know if it was the whole album, but a lot of the lyrics, Richie with a T recorded in a room by himself in the dark.
Look across the table, I see a lot more than what appears to be a shadow. He walks across the room, I see a lot more than seems to be patterns. I scan the room, I see bits and pieces of you scattered. It's those same patterns that gon' get us through the next chapter. Your blood run through this home and your habits do much after. Grab the remote, pops up something you would've watched. I'm like, classic. This is some shit I would've seen you watch and I just laughed at. Your patterns are still in place and your algorithm is still in action. Yeah. Just working so you can just jump right back in. But you ain't jumping back. Yeah, just run it back.
Yeah, I'll probably start crying here. We'll see. I can feel it, but I was just thinking about that. You know, this song's pretty straightforward. This idea of seeing bits of a person that you know that is gone, but you see them through scattered remains, like online. And I started thinking about, you know, when I die, whenever that happens, I'll still exist online, you know? And I started thinking about one of my favorite books, Slaughterhouse-5. And the basis is this guy becomes unstuck in time and these aliens pick him up and explain to him that, yeah, you can just move around in time and we do it all the time. And we don't understand why humans are so upset when somebody dies because you can just go back to where they are when they're happy. And that's kind of real now, in a sense. And I started thinking about The Heart Part 5 with Kendrick when he starts talking about, oh shit, what's his name? Damn it, I forget his name. I apologize. But you know, towards the end of the track, you know, he's talking to his family members, saying, you know, show my babies my interviews. Be sure to show my kids my interviews. You know, this guy, Kendrick, being, God, fuck, his name is like right there on the tip of my tongue. But, you know, speaking as him, and just this idea of his own children, you know, their father's gone, but they can go online, and there he is. That's weird. It's weird. And in some ways it's great, and in some ways it's horrible. I don't know. You know, I don't know. It makes me very emotional. It's just very strange. And this track is brilliant in that sense. You know, logging into somebody else's computer that they use, and yeah, the algorithm mimics their interests and brings up bits, you know, little shadows, echoes of who they were, what they were interested in. Grab the remote, pops up something you would have watched, and I'm like, classic. This is some shit I would have seen you watch and then just laughed at. Huh. There it is. Right there. Let's go to track 8. Wild Wild West.
Can you hear me now?
God, this is fucking.
Is this thing on?
5G. We putting towers up everywhere. 5G.
Can you hear me now? Wow,
It's the Wild Wild West out here.
This is fucking.
It's the Wild Wild West out here. Yeah. We putting towers up everywhere. 5G. High speed.
God, that beat is fucking incredible.
It's galactic. 5G. Triple shot. This hell of a hat trick. It's Will Smith with the expected gadget.
It's Willie Smith with the expected gadget. Yeah, I'm no rat with the intergalactic.
I'm on that 5G with one click kinetic high speed. The triple shot is hell of a hat trick. My brick got the horses moving. All you do it. AI, Cybertruck, you run them through them. The talker, same color as Willie Walker's movement.
Holy shit, man. Holy fuck. This is incredible. I'm still recovering from top picks for you, and fuck, man, this is blowing me away. Okay, so what do I got here? What's stirring around in the brain? 5G. What was the big thing during 5G and COVID? Right, the conspiracy of that's how they were spreading COVID was across 5G. One of my favorite jokes when I was getting the vaccine and the booster and shit was like I would go in because where I work I could get it for free, and they would even give us free sick time. I'm like, oh, sweet. I joke, I'm going to go get my 5G upgrade. They're putting towers up everywhere. Can you hear me now? There are so many fucking layers here. So can you hear me now is from the goddamn commercial, right? Can you hear me now? Which was a reference to a cell phone provider, which of course their job is to put up cell phone towers so there's more coverage. Talking about 5G, this paranoid beat style, whatever. The idea of spreading COVID through 5G coverage, national coverage across, there's no loss of service, so we can just pump 5G everywhere, right? Let's click some of this shit up. Let's see. 5G is known to spread COVID-19. In this track, they're warning you to watch out for it. Is that a downvote? It's got a -1. Yeah, that's funny. I don't think the person who downvoted understands what's being said there. What are some of these names? It's your boy Willie Smith. I don't know who that is. A reference to Will Smith's song Wild Wild West. Okay, sure, that makes sense. Yeah. Who's this other guy? I'm Norin Rad with Intergalactic. The name of the Silver Surfer, comics character, cosmic being from the planet Zenla, who traveled around the galaxy finding planets for... Okay, there was another character too, another name. Maybe not. The triple shot is a hell of a hat trick. Injury Reserve had an iconic 3-project run consisting of their debut, Live from Dentist Office Floss, self-titled, before Phoenix. Okay. Richie switches here from saying they're putting up towers everywhere to we putting up towers everywhere. Okay, yeah, that's true. He does say that. If these lines in the song are seen as a comment on the growth of the internet over the years, which is saying Injury Reserve's albums put up their tower. Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. My whip got the horses moving. What are you doing? AI Cybertruck will run them through them. The Tonka, same color as really Wonka's movement. Gobstopper, the Crime Stopper, 5G, Smoke Your Cuban. Oh, you ruthless. I'm opportunist. It's awkward too. When you step in an outfit that's a coffin 2. In light speed to infinity and beyond. We're moving. I'm beyond you, humans. That's an interesting section. When you step in an office, that's a coffin 2. It's just got to be an idea of getting the vaccine is bad. Oh, here's the annotation. To infinity and beyond is Buzz Lightyear's famous catchphrase. Yeah, we know. But let's go beyond that. So here's what I'm pulling from that. Because this song, Wild Wild West, and maybe it's a playoff of... Fuck, there's a lot of layers. Wild Wild West, obviously, back in the 1800s or whenever the West was being settled and explored and all this other shit, lawlessness and fucking people running around with guns everywhere, right? All this other shit. Okay, so Wild Wild West, take that concept, apply it to the internet and all of the shit people are spreading around on the internet, whether it's true or not, and the people who buy into it and believe in it. Then you get to this idea of 5G being spreading COVID. You get the idea of the vaccine being used to control people and all this other crazy shit, right? So then the idea becomes, if you go to the doctor's office to get your shot, you're actually stepping into your own coffin. Then you get to the line, in light speed to infinity and beyond, we're moving, I'm beyond you humans. And I take that final line, I'm beyond you humans, as the person who's completely bought into the conspiracy and thinks everyone else is sheep, and they're all dumb, and they're the smart ones. They're the ones that get it, right? And that's happening at light speed. It's fucking wild. This is wild, man. Holy shit. Oh, poor Peggy. Poor Peggy. I think JPEG Mafia's Veteran album is about to get dethroned today for favorite initial listening experience. I've never heard anything like this before. Ever. This is fucking wild. Fucking wild. Let's move on to track 9, which is called Postpostpartum. I can only fucking imagine. Trippy. What the fuck?
Don't you know I have my arms open, soak it all in, postpartum. Let's go hard and we all in. Check it, yeah. I was hurting from birthing niggas. Shit, got into my mental, yeah. All these little lowercase t's on instrumentals, oh please, just gonna be gentle, yeah. Drawings from my stencils, seeing all the itty bitty knees, all about to tremble, but see, why am I salty? Shit, I should be honored, yeah. But now they running laps around me. See, that's the problem, you see. I'm just doing my thing, but then they profit like bees. To a pollen, now see, you see my problem. And you look around, and look just like
You gonna need way more than some all of this.
I tried every angle, turn over every stone. Shit. One more to please, it just turned to my seas and all fall down to your feet, nigga. Geronimo. I have my arms to the sea, but now they got it close.
And you look around and it looks just like
Oh shit! I was too involved in the track. I didn't realize it was the end. Okay. I don't know what the fuck to make out of this one. So this refrain, I'm gonna read this first. It's got Steppa J and Groggs, and a sample, and it's overlaid. It's overlapped, and it was hard to tell what was being said. And you look around, and they look just like you. And then all of this is in parentheses. Well, let's hear it. You burthen people, and all of this is in parentheses. To you, it's knee deep. To him, it's chin high. Fear is intertwined, but the cards that were dealt, well, never mind. You're gonna need way more than some boots for all of this. Way more than a tool for all to fix. So follow suit, and then sins, they're gonna follow you. You cast a way darker shade than your peers, and that's gonna follow you. Further from the sun. So from father to the son, part of it is done, but it's hardly just begun. This portion here, I'll read it and I'll read the annotation. Don't you know, I had my arms open, soak it all in, postpostpartum. Let's go hard. Yeah, we're all in. Don't you know, I had my arms open. Yeah, soak it all in. In Richie's postpartum period, he had his arms open to those who needed his advice, help, or guidance. He was nothing but generous to his mentees and or peers and was fully committed to their success. The word postpartum is in reference to how a mother would eagerly nurture and raise a newborn. Postpostpartum, he is slightly bitter at the people he mentored are now running laps around him. Yeah, I got that impression. Throughout the song, we see Richie's internal struggle with his sentiment since he knows he should be happy for them. Sure. And that's what you get into later, which is in the verse 1. I was hurting from birthing them, got into my mental. I don't understand this. All these lowercase t's. Oh, sure. Of course. God, some of this stuff is so obvious and it just blows right by me. His name is Richie with a T, capital T. So the knockoffs are lowercase t's, sure. You've seen all the itty bitty knees all about to tremble, but see, why am I so salty? I should be honored. Now they're running laps around me. See, that's the problem. I'm just doing my thing, but they're profiting like bees to pollen. Now you see my problem. You look around and they look just like you. Okay, this makes more sense now. Now it makes sense. I like this line a lot. I'd rather burn at the stake than boil in a pot. Because burn at the stake much faster than a slow boil where you cook and die, right? But you got to pull them from the roots when you pull the plug. Uncle Lilo taught. That's true too. So it doesn't grow back. I guess if you're going to pull the plug, do it such that it doesn't grow back, the relationship. It's been a blessing just to see you grow, but soon as you've seen red, I should have seen red. Shit, you already know. Tried every angle, turned over every stone. One more to go, but please, it just turned to my season. All falls down to your feet, Geronimo. My arms open. Huh. I feel like it's the double whammy. You know, because it's one thing to be successful and have people look up to you and then be willing to help them, which, I mean, I don't know how common that is, but it seems less common than it probably should be. So being someone who's successful and people have, you know, admire you, they look up to you and they come to you for help, and then you help them and you nurture them and you help them grow and you see them do well. And then you see them maybe doing really well, and you go, well, fuck, they're not even doing it as well as I do. And then this also happens when you have recently lost a very close friend who is part of your group, So it's the double whammy of not blowing up like somebody else is, even though you taught them, and now your own group has been, slammed with something severe that's going to potentially limit your ability to grow. Interesting track. All right, there's two more. The next one's called Knees, produced by Injury Reserve. Let's drop into Knees. Let's check it out.
Knees hurting when I grow, and that's a tough pill to swallow, because I'm not getting taller. Please, anyway I can grow, please. My knees hurt when I grow, and that's a tough pill to swallow, cause I'm not getting taller. Please, is any way I can grow, please. Take that, take that, take that, take that. Take my baby, baby, just take that. She said we don't accept the swipey kind. Things I ain't knowing yet. Things I ain't growing in.
Oh, don't worry, you gonna grow into those babies.
We don't want mine, but they give me if I ain't knowing.
Just try them out. Put them on.
I ain't on this journey. I don't think I'm growing anymore. I don't think I'm.
This interlude is funny with Grandma telling him to put on clothes that they'll grow into. Everyone's gone through that shit. This is a 5-minute track, which is why I'm pausing it about 2 minutes in. I'll probably let the last 3 minutes play. This chorus is being repeated several times. My knees hurt when I grow, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Is there any way I could grow, please? I'm not getting taller. So he's got knee pain. Well, let's see if I can. I mean, this is annotated, but let's see if I can pull this apart on my own here. Gets knee pain from growth. That's a tough pill to swallow because I'm not getting taller. The tough pill being I've got knee pain but no growth. So there's pain but no growth, which makes sense considering grogs. Is there any way I could grow, please? And I feel like maybe that's a hint at, is there something positive that can come for this pain? And maybe that's just maybe that's the summary of this whole album right there. It could be just right there, that simple. I feel pain, but I ain't growing. Can we please get something from this? Tough pill to swallow. Can we press rewind and just go ahead and press play? Can we just go back and play? Because if you think about Injury Reserve and their career, the idea of pressing rewind and then press play, can we go back? Can we go back to where we were before and play? And then this verse 1, I feel like he's in a strip club or something. Take that. Take my pay me. Just take that. And she says, we don't accept the swipey kind. Right? So he's trying to give her, I'm assuming, a stripper or somebody. She's trying to give her a credit card. Like, nah, we only take cash here. I think they're lying. We ain't supposed to speed on that. We ain't got the green like that. My signature don't match on that. I did that when snapbacks came back. Snapbacks, is that the sliding credit card thing? Lost in the tent. There was things I ain't rolling with, things I ain't knowing yet, things I ain't growing in. And then it drops into this interlude about trying to put on things that don't fit just yet. And you know what? Having talked through that first section, this section is a little bit more interesting. The idea of trying to fit into something that doesn't fit you yet, and it's not right. The idea of losing your buddy. And how do you wear that? When you're not, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit right. Maybe. I'm getting all emotional over an idea. I might not even be fucking right, you know? Let's move on with verse 2.
Shit, I can't even grow no more. Well, at least not vertically. But all these bottles that a nigga been killing got my stomach a little bit lower than it's supposed to be. Yeah. I see my aunt the other day, she started roasting me. Like, baby, how come every time I see you, you get me found in the face? That's the real shit, I want to write it. Then I thought about it, I should probably take these booze off my rider. Okay, this last one is my last one. Shit, probably said that about the last one. Probably gonna say it about the next two. Fuck it, nigga, at least my dreads grew. Watch me swing on them. Yeah, watch me. My knees hurt cause I'm grown.
And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Stop killing these bottles. My knees hurt. My knees hurt cause I'm grown. And that's a tough pill to swallow. I need to put down the bottle. Knees hurt. Knees hurt cause I'm grown.
They really let you soak in it, don't they? Jesus. A couple tracks ago, I was thinking to myself, I didn't mention it, but I was thinking to myself, you know, there's a lot of kind of focus on that track by Eyez, his version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix. And when you're going through Ground Zero and Smoke Don't Clear and Footwork in a Forest Fire and fuck even Wild Wild West, right? A lot of shit going on there. Postpostpartum. I was like, well, I don't feel it. I don't say I don't feel it. I mean, that's the wrong word. I don't hear the interpretation. I'm not picking up the interpretation of that concept of what Eyez did to that track with that track. And I mentioned at the beginning, you know, the association with leaving the woman, trying to leave the woman over and over and over and not being able to do it, and alcohol, and here it is right in front of us with Groggs. So I wonder if needs is really the focal point for that idea. It kind of felt like it. The music, the production for this track, for Knees, it had that same feeling like Eyez version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix. My knees hurt because I'm growing. I keep killing these bottles. This is an unreviewed annotation. I'm not going to read that one. It's pretty long. This verse from Grog, shit, I can't even grow no more. At least not vertically. But all these bottles that a person been killing got my stomach a little bit lower than it's supposed to be. I saw my aunt the other day. She started roasting me like, how come every time I see you getting pounded in the face? Had some rude shit I wanted to write her, but I thought about it. I should probably take this booze off my writer. And this is it right here. This is the tie-in. Okay, this is the last one. Last one, shit. Probably said that about the last one. Probably going to say that about the next two. Let's read this annotation. It says it's unreviewed, but here's the annotation. This could be pushing a dual narrative. Not only is Grog saying the bottle he's indulging in is his last one, but he also fears it may be his last one ever. Sure, okay. I don't get that impression, but I can see where that's coming from. On previous endeavors, the late rapper always cited his alcohol addiction as a major problem. Yep, the theme here is no different. Yep. It might as well be off. And it might as well be awfully cryptic given the raptor died young, and that this is a post-humorous verse. He can't stop and gets loaded to the brim with the shots in question. He makes excuses to distance his addiction from question from how he knows exactly what he's doing to himself. It isn't good. I'm surprised there's no association to the actual track. I think here, right here. Okay, this one is my last one. This one's my last. Go listen to the track by Eyez by the time I get to Phoenix, because there's a specific part where he tells her he's left her 7 times. He doesn't tell her that, but he talks about Eyez says he's left this woman 7 times, and 7 times he's come back. And so the woman knows he can't leave her. But that's the whole point of the track. He finally does leave. Well, I shouldn't say that for certain. I've only listened to it 1 time, so I may have misunderstood some of it. But I feel like this is Groggs relating to that track, and probably why he felt it so strongly. Because the relationship itself was toxic. She's cheating on him. He loves her to death. He's doing everything he can, and he loves her, and he's giving her all these things, buying her all this stuff, and he loves her. And she's killing him. She's breaking his heart. She's treating him like shit. Because she knows he can't leave. I think that's the tie-in here. I think that's what Groggs was feeling. This horrible, awful relationship with alcohol. One more track. Getting emotional just because it's hard. I think about how many people have had to deal with this. It's just hard. It's hard. You know? And I feel it. It's good music. It's good art to pull that out, you know? I just feel it. That's it. All right. Last track. By Storm. By Storm, as in goodbye Storm, which is already interesting.
Storm, I know I'm on, yeah, won't show everything. The show must go on, the show must go, man, show must go on, shit, I don't know. It rains it falls, but damn, nigga, it's really pouring. It rains it falls, but damn, nigga, it's really pouring. Shit, we got caught by storm, and we ain't even know it. To you, this shit knee high, to him it's to his shoulders. I see what gravity did to my pop shell, it broke me. I told my cuz that ain't him, she said shit, I know that. I see my anchors break down, I don't know how to hold that. There's only so much two arms can truly hold it. Everybody got that one that keep the rest in orbit, but who gon' hold it down when that rock can't take no moment? It rains and pours, but damn man, it's really pouring.
Still trying to get my shit together. That song felt like kind of like a end credits type thing, you know? But there's some stuff that stuck out to me. There's some lyrics here that seems to reference previous tracks. It's like a summary almost. Rains it pours. By Storm. I want to know, there's an annotation here. Why they talk about by? So they're talking about the rain. Yeah, I get this. So the annotation is just talking about the rain. You know, when it rains, it pours, which is pretty straightforward one to understand. But he's saying bye storm, as in goodbye storm. I know I'll mourn. You won't show me everything. The show must go on. The show must go on. I know. It rains, it pours. But it's really pouring. And I think really what's being said here is, the storm is temporary. And he's talking about the show must go on. The show must go on. I don't, let's click the annotation. I think they might talk about show business here, but yeah. See, he is saying, now Richie has to say goodbye, also aware that he needs to finish the show. And then in a parentheses, it says the album. I don't really think it's the album. I think it's just life. It just keeps going, man. I'm all stirred up from the last track still. We got caught by a storm. We ain't even know it. To you, this shit knee high. To him, it's to his shoulders. And this is what gets interesting. This is where I feel like it starts referencing other tracks. I see what gravity did to my pop shell. It broke. And he talks about his dad and Footwork in a forest fire. How'd you roll during the riots? And maybe I'm wrong about that, but that was what I pulled from that track. I told my cousin it ain't him. She said, shit, I know that. I seen my anchors break down. I don't know how to hold that. And that's an interesting line in a track that's called By Storm. Because an anchor holds a ship in place, but if the anchors break down and a storm comes through, it's going to blow the ship aside. It's going to blow you off course or displace you, whatever analogy you want to make there. There's only so much two arms can truly hold. That was another reference from Footwork in a Forest Fire. Everybody got that one that keep the rest in orbit. But who gonna hold it down when that rock can't take no more? I was gonna say about this orbit line, it reminded me of the idea of like, what is it? All the relationship shit, right? Where like you keep all the potentials. What do they fucking call it? Plates, spinning plates, or some shit like that. I don't even know. Everybody got that one that keep the rest in orbit. So the idea of that one person you hold close that forces you to keep everybody else kind of at distance, maybe. I don't know. I don't think that's a valid idea there. I think I'm really reaching. That's just what popped into my head. It rains, it pours, but damn, it's really pouring. They said you'll cope, but damn, I don't know. We laugh, we joke, because that's just how they'd want it. It rains, it pours, but it's really pouring. I feel like, yeah, this is just it. This is just him saying, okay, it sucks right now, but we're going to get through it somehow. Fucking Knees, man. Knees was incredible. God, this whole album. Fuck. I don't have any hearts. Well, I have a heart next to Knees in San Francisco, but I don't have any hearts next to anything because I was so absorbed into the album. I wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing on Spotify. Fuck, man. What a ride. Jesus. Wow. Yeah, that's my new number one. In terms of first time experience. Fuck, man. I don't even know how to describe that. And it's tough because I feel like you put it on for people to try and get it, have them appreciate what you just experienced. And the beats are so wild. Like it's barely even music half the time. So without the context, without sitting down and really paying attention to it, man, this is really hard to describe what this feels like. But in that sense, I think it's the highest compliment I can give it because I can only just feel it. I can't mash it into a language, into words that make sense and explain how I'm feeling right now and what this album just did inside of my brain, inside of my heart. Wild. Fuck, it's wild to think that music can do stuff like this. It's unbelievable. And then what's upsetting is there's this part in my brain going, yeah, and there's people who will not call this music. They'll say this is garbage, it's trash. They can't connect to it. And I think it is challenging to connect with from a musical point of view, but there's so much more happening here than just music than just noise. I mean, this is expression. This is expression. Fuck. I need to take a break. That was incredible. It's going to be interesting listening to this the next couple of days and seeing how it processes and where I come out, Wednesday as I settle with this and just try and absorb it more and really let it soak. This is an album that you got to soak in. Jesus, needs, man. Ground Zero. The fucking panic. And then the smoke don't clear, settling into that panic. Top picks for you, this idea of just these little bits, seeing Grogs here and there, on the fucking laptop and on the algorithm feed, and just little bits of who he was. It's wild. All right. I want to keep talking. I don't know why. I think inside of me is an idea that wants to come out. It just doesn't know how to coalesce. It doesn't know how to come into being. And I think part of it too is I just want to still be here for a second, because as soon as I stop, then I transition into upload and edit and all this other stuff, and I just kind of want to be here. I feel like I don't even know why I'm emotional right now. I'm not even thinking about anything, but I feel like how I felt at the end of To Pimp a Butterfly. Just in awe. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay.